Rabbi Wilhelm, so nice to see you over here meditating in the woods.
Been seeing. What are you focusing on? The sun and stars and the moon? Stay
We're
focused.
focusing on the Eibishter, Shemesh Havaya,
Yeah.
and we're hoping that you're going to be a ray of light, taking
Okay.
a little bit of the Eibishter and infusing it into us. Is that okay?
Been seeing. If anybody would see what you look like now, they would realize that you have ants in your pants. He's wearing a helmet. He's running now onto a bike somewhere. Who fleeced it? I'll tell you a nice story. It's not relevant. This week's parsha is the mitzvah Sfirat העומר. It's Hashgacha Pratis. We're in the Sfirat העומר, and this week's parsha is about Sfirat העומר. And I saw a story that the Tzemach Tzedek said once that when they traveled from Lubavitch to another city, they had options which road to take. So now when you get onto your bike or your car or whatever you're going to drive here, your airplane, there's two options. There's side streets and then there's the highway. Now you would think that the highway is better only because there's less, you could go quicker. No. There's another point. The side streets don't have mile markers. You don't know. You can't count how far you've gone. You see one schmutziger place, another billboard. On the highway, you have every mile have a marker, or next exit is Monticello. Yeah, where you're going there, or the following exit is Liberty. Yeah, so you know where you're going. And
so how does that help me if I have mile markers?
Because a Yid always has to count, and a Yid always has to know where he's up to, how many miles did he drive, and how many miles is he going. This is a story that Tzemach Tzedek said, that when there was the options which way to travel, you should take the option where you see the mile markers. I don't know in Russia if they weren't by miles, right? But the markers to see how much you've traveled, how much further you have to go. That's what Sfirat העומר is. Usfartem lochem. Lachem means fix yourself, and purify yourself, and make yourself shine. What have I done, and what am I going to do? Now, for this week's parsha,
is that why you're so bright? That you're bright like the sun over here?
In this week's parsha is a fascinating lesson you can learn, and that is the Torah says that this is. I'm going to tell you all the mitzvahs of the Yom Tovim, and right, the first one starts with Shabbos. You told me Yom Tov. What are you starting with Shabbos? So Rashi says it's coming to teach us that somebody who desecrates Yom Tov is like desecrating Shabbos. Desecrating Shabbos is like desecrating Yom Tov. Yippee, what's the big chiddush? Why would you think different?
Yippee?
Yeah, yippee.
Yippee.
What's the big brilliant chiddush? The big brilliant chiddush is that there's a big difference between Shabbos and Yom Tov. And Rashi says, even though they are so different, they have something that they're common denominator. What is it? Shabbos is Mekacha V'Kaima. Who makes the seventh day Shabbos? The Eibishter. The Eibishter says, stand on your head and spit wooden nickels. Every seventh day is Shabbos. It's not dependent on you. Yom Tiv, it's dependent on the Bezdin. Depending on what day they proclaim Leish Chodesh, they will decide which day is Yom Tiv Pesach on middle of the month, or Sukkot is the middle of the month. We create the Yom Tiv. We, meaning people down here, create the Yom Tiv. Shabbos is the Eibishter creates. Down here. So the point Rashi is basically saying, Haut Kabens here. Rashi is saying, Shabbos, which the Eibishter establishes, tells you which day, and Yom Tov, which you make holy, is as important. So when a Yid changes his behavior, a Yid makes himself holy, it's as powerful as a Yid makes it, as the Eibishter making it holy. You hear that?
Powerful.
I'll finish off. Many people have celebrated or commemorated the Yartzeit of Shaila Mikar Stira lately. I read a beautiful thing, a beautiful story. Everybody knows that he was famous in feeding people, making sure everybody has what to eat. So there's a vart that I read somewhere that he said that every mitzvah has its time. Right now we're into Sfirat העומר. Every mitzvah has its time. Zman Torah l'chud, Zman Tefillah l'chud. There's one mitzvah that has no time. It's 24/7. The mitzvah of being kind and feeding people. And he used a nice drash from a pasuk. The pasuk says, now for this Naftali, when Ben Sin, you'll need to know a little Yiddish. The pasuk says that when the Kayin and Hevel, when we're going to brought their karbanis, so it says that the Eibishter took Hevel's carbon, but El Kayin loisha, he didn't listen to Kayin's carbon. Kayin in Yiddish means to chew, to eat. El Kayin, to give somebody to eat, loisha, there's never a time for that. It's always. You have to work on yourself, not only to change over and become more spiritual to you for yourself, but you have to, your midas have to be there in the Sfiras Omer. Take the Michael Behemoth. And by the way, you were supposed to learn Chassidus very often. You made a hachlata. And Mazel Tov, this week was Ben Sion's birthday. He made a hachlata. He's going to show up more often in Chassidus. And the Maimer from the Friedrich Rebbe that we're supposed to learn, and Sefer Memorim Yiddish, Svartem Lachem. The Friedrich Rebbe tells exactly how you develop your midas, how you change. You have any cleanup, change up you have to do over there? How you change your midas, and it's not only about yourself and being spiritual. It's about helping other people. And remember, Vel Kayin Loisha. There's no time period for that. It's always. It's 24/7.
Well, thank you for taking a couple of minutes to feed us some faith. Have a bright day, everybody.